What does it mean to stand for your faith? Well, today I want to talk to you really quick about a guy named Daniel. This Daniel was a guy in the Bible, in the Old Testament. He has a book named after him because he wrote the book. But Daniel was a man of character. He was a man of great faith. And he was taken captive by the Babylonians when he was just a teenager, along with others from the royal family. He was taken and he was placed into service for the king there in Babylon. But here's what is so interesting about Daniel. Daniel was a Jew, and he had been raised up with certain values, with certain morals, knowing God's law. He knew God's commands for how he should live his life, for even down to what he should be eating. And so Daniel had already purposed in his heart that he would not sin against God. So now, fast forward, there's a time that comes along. Daniel and his friends have been very godly influences in this pagan culture. All right, Daniel now is kind of off the scene for just a short while in chapter 3 of the book of Daniel, but his friends are there. His friends are just like him. They are very foundational in their faith. They are rooted down, and they know exactly what they believe, and they know that they're going to stand for what they believe. Well, there comes a time where they are faced head on with a huge decision that might even cost them their life. The king has this huge statue erected on the plain of Dura. It's 90 feet high, it's 9 feet wide, and his command is that everyone at the sound of the music bow down to this statue and worship it. The three friends did not bow down. Everyone else, it was like a herd mentality. Everyone else fell down and worshiped this statue, but the three friends stood still. They stood firm for their convictions. And you know what happened? There were men who were very jealous of these three men. There were men who were jealous of their position. They were jealous of the attention that they had gotten from the king. They wanted to point this out because they could not understand their faith, and they were jealous by that. It rubbed them the wrong way. And so they told on them. They told the king, hey, you made this command, and everybody's supposed to fall down and worship the statue, but yet you have three Hebrew young men who are neglecting to fall down and honor you in this way. They are flat out refusing. The king is furious, and so he brings these men in front of him, and he wants to give them one more shot, and he's like, basically, what's going on here? And the men say this: listen, king, our God is able to spare us from this. If he does not, though, we are still going to serve him. He is still a good God. God can spare us, but if he doesn't, we're still going to worship. We're still going to follow him. And so what happened to these three young men is that they faced a fiery furnace. The king was so enraged that he had this fiery furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual. And as the strongest men in his army brought these young men who were bound up, brought them up to the top of this furnace to throw them in, the strong men were consumed by the flames. But the three men, they fell into the fire. The king, who is sitting there in front of like a glass window, he sees 3 men walking around unbound. And then he sees a 4th man in the fire, and this 4th man looks like the son of the gods, as he says. He calls them out, and these 3 young men come forward. There's no smell of smoke. Their hair is not singed. They're not harmed in any way. And here's what they say: King, God spared us. And the king recognizes this, and he says, praise to your God, because you didn't listen to me. You disobeyed me, but yet God spared you because of your faithfulness to him. You stood still when everyone else was bowing down, and God spared you. And so this is a lesson to us, because that fourth man in the fire, it was Jesus. Jesus was right there with them in that fire. And so it tells us this. First of all, he was with them even before the fire, because the strong men were consumed as they went up because of the heat and the flames, but these 3 young men were not touched. So God was with them even before they got to the fire. It tells us in our own lives, when we face trials, God is with us. And he is with us even before we face them. He knows what's coming. He knows what we're going to go through, and he is with us. Now, here's the thing. God sometimes spares us from the hard, but sometimes he doesn't. And when he doesn't, his promise is that he will be with us through the fire. He was with the 3 Hebrew young men. He didn't spare them from the flames, but he kept them safe in the midst of the flames, and he delivered them from the flames because he was with them. So whatever you're going through, first of all, stand for your faith. We are living in dark times. People need to see genuine faith. They need to see you stand for what you believe in. So stand for your faith and know that God is with you. All right, have a great day.